Why is the UFC throwing out high-level fighters as of late? Now, I understand Jailton Almeida had 2 very boring performances. Sure, yes, and I understand he's not a very, finish-hungry guy when it comes to fighting in the top 5. But that's in the top 5. When we seen this guy fight outside of the top 5, he was getting finish after finish. He's an interesting guy overall. He's not a bad fighter. Heavyweight is at its worst it's ever been, and you're throwing the one bit of talent that you have in the division. What are we doing? But we're keeping 0-6 Taito Ivasa, Taliesin Teixeira, who both don't have cardio at all, and they absolutely sucked in their last matchups. I'm just saying, what are we doing? You got Fakirov, who got kicked out of the UFC when he's 6-0-1. Come on. What is with this? We got high-level fighters getting kicked out of the UFC, and we're welcoming in and we're keeping in fighters that don't deserve to be staying. Like, respectfully, Alex Morono, before his last fight, he was not doing well at all. And the UFC might actually offer this guy one last fight, which I think it's fine with me. It's fine with me. But do not kick out guys that are having positive records within the UFC. Jailton Almeida was talking about dropping to 205 pounds because he thought he might have felt better there. Let him drop to 205. See how he performs there. Don't cut him. Don't cut him. He's still a talent. Like, the UFC has completely lost the plot. At lightweight, there's a clear matchup between Arman Tsarukyan and Ilia Topuria. What do? No, we're going to do an interim title fight between Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje because Arman Tsarukyan doesn't know how to behave. Who cares? He's the best of the best. Dana White hated Tito Ortiz. He had him as his champion. He didn't complain. Obviously, he didn't like him. But now it's all different? Come on. Come on. Like, we've completely lost the plot. Arman Tsarukyan's a high-level fighter. Let him fight Ilia Topuria. That is the high-level matchup to make. Every other matchup is predictable other than if Ilia Topuria moves up to, of course, welterweight to fight Islam Makhachev. Then we have a 50-50 fight. But come on. This is the closest matchup you're going to get at lightweight right now, and you're not making it. There's just so much things that are wrong with what the UFC is doing right now. I completely, just don't like it at all. I don't care if I am guaranteed to see a KO in a fight. I want close fights. I want to know that this guy might not win today. Ilia Topuria, I swear, any guy in that lightweight division, other than Arman Tsarukyan, I will be 100% sure that he is knocking their ass out. And that's just a fact. You can tell yourself, oh no, my guy's going to win. But no, you know that he's going to lose. And when he faces Arman Tsarukyan, that will be actually a fight that you're contemplating a bit. Is Ilia Topuria capable of beating this high level of a wrestler? That's what you want in your head. You don't want to just see the champion fight and be like, yeah, he's 100% going to win. This guy sucks. You shouldn't be telling yourself that. You shouldn't. Then you're not watching a high-level fight. And I'm sure a lot of fighters would agree with this. Other than the fighters that are getting these undeserved shots, really. You can't blame the fighter. The shot's being handed to them. But they're still not deserving of it. Regardless. It has me pissed a bit. Because I watched the UFC at first because it was the best versus the best. But the more they would talk bad about boxing, the more the UFC has started to kind of become boxing and revolve around that bad situation that they have, where a fighter to face a worthy contender wants about $100 million. Nowadays, we're literally seeing the promoters do it to themselves. What is that? The fighters are still hungry for these matchups, but the promoters are not making them, which I don't understand. A lot of fighters have verbally agreed to fight each other, but we haven't seen them made. Islam Makhachev just said that he is open to fighting Ilia Topuria at the White House. Ilia Topuria always says he's open to fighting Islam Makhachev. But you know why they might not make that fight? Because there's not an American between the two. Who cares? It's the highest level of fighting we could possibly ever see. As of now, as those two guys, they're pound for pound number 1 and pound for pound number 2. They're interchangeable regardless. Whoever has the most recent win always gets put as number 1. We saw it when Ilya knocked out Oliveira, and then we saw it when Islam just beat JDM. The two are the best of the best in the sport right now. That is the matchup to make. Who cares if there's not an American? That is the matchup to make. And for Americans, why would you want to see Justin Gaethje face Ilia Topuria? He's going to get knocked out. He's going to get knocked out on the lawn of the White House. You really want to see that? No. You want to see a crazy matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, or Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan. You want close fights. That's what makes interesting events. That's all I have to say for today. Guys, I want you to comment down below. Who is a fighter that got kicked out of the UFC that you feel is just not deserving of it at all? And tell me a fighter that's still in the UFC that should be kicked out. Let me know.